All I write a list, right, of all the garments that I want to have in the collection, and from that list, well, I already choose the colours. This summer it's shades of blue, clean and crisp, and I suppose light and airy, and it's all very hooked in, very tonal, and that's kind of what we do.
I feel like I'm really coming into myself with the designing more and more. One of the things that I was really inspired by this latest collection is I've been going to lots of antique fairs and collecting tablecloths and doilies and just the work in them. I mean, there's some of the dresses over there in these tablecloths, and there's that balance between it being girly and pretty, but then that rock and roll edge to it as well, you know?
The media coverage surrounding them and other young designers in the industry is more fitting to the launch of a new season from an established overseas fashion house.
It's still early days. Like we've enjoyed a lot of support from local media, which is great. But the trick will be what happens to the clothes when they arrive in stores. Do you know what I mean? They have to sell, and hopefully they do. There probably won't be, there's not going to be another time probably in the brand's, history in Australia where, it'll be this hype. You can only be like the new, young, fresh thing once, and this is probably our time right now, so have to enjoy it.
As far as my label goes, it really only is a year and a half old, and that's when it was born properly. I kind of did my logo identity, I did everything. I made a conscious decision that this is going to be my career.
Both designers debuted their labels at recent fashion weeks with their own show. While everything was all right on the night, it's not always as easy as it looks.
I've done a Sydney, a Melbourne, and a Sydney. It's it's a climax. It's like the critical point, isn't it, of the whole collection. And for me, doing a fashion show is amazing, but I am always thinking about other ways that I can present my clothes in different forms, whether it be an exhibition of my clothes in photographs or, but doing a show is fantastic, and I was, it does give you a bit of a rush, most definitely, yeah.
It's such a fleeting and surreal thing. You work so hard in the lead up to that, as always I left it to the last minute as far as, designing and sampling and whatever, and I think with 2 weeks to go to the show we didn't have a single sample sewn and all this type of jazz, and fabric was still in Italy, and it was a nightmare. And it's kind of however many weeks. I remember sleeping in my car outside machinist's house in God knows where, and she finished the garment and then she'll knock on the window and I'll wake up and I've got the laptop on my lap. It was great that people liked it. I was so unconvinced until the morning of the show, and we were backstage, and when I arrived, I think the kids were getting dressed or something, and I was taking care of things, whatever. And I came in and all the girls were lined up wearing the stuff all together, and I looked at it and I thought, fuck, it looks amazing, this is great. And then I knew for the first time it was going to be all good.
Family can be a huge support network for a young brand, whether it's influence or inspiration or mum helping out with the brand's accounts.
Mum's amazing. She was one of the youngest ever people to be accepted into London College of Fashion. I think when she was, just 16 or something. And one of her jobs was designing for the Beatles, for their label Apple. So funny, because now I'm a designer and my sister's a designer. My sister Bridget McCall's got a label called Life with Bird, and so it's definitely in our blood. Yeah.
I have the help of my family. My mum is a full-time music teacher, but she's kind of working 2 jobs right now because she's also the most organised woman you'll ever meet in your life. And so she's helping me get these systems in place as far as, and handling accounts and that type of jazz. But as far as infrastructure goes, yeah, we're working out of my folks' place. You don't really need a fancy studio, and you don't need to carry stock, and you can make your life a lot easier by kind of just recognising certain truths, and kind of, as much as I'm a dreamer, sometimes you just have to say, you have to kind of recognise the reality and embrace that. And ultimately, you'd be much better off for it.
Though Alice McCall is a young brand, Alice herself has already worked as a stylist in the UK for 10 years, styling for MTV, Natalie Imbruglia as she was launching her hit single Torn, as well as freelance work for artists such as Destiny's Child and Marianne Faithfull. It was a chance meeting with the Sass and Bide girls in Ibiza that saw Alice return to Australia with a new job.
I think it's Sass and Bide. Party's an amazing person, and the production manager is amazing, and that they're such a, you know, got a fantastic team of people there. So I learned the whole, you know, whole other process about, you know, style numbers and about lead times and about fabrics and about just, you know, the whole process other than just the design of getting a garment finished. For me, I think that I had the passion. I really, really had the passion to suddenly do my own thing, and the timing was just right, and I had the knowledge, and so I launched Alice McCall properly as a label a year and a half ago. When you create clothes and someone goes into a shop and buys your clothes because they want to own a garment, and they go out and they have an amazing night in one of your dresses, or you see this person out, you know, that is what gives you the best feeling, that the true state of, you know, happiness, and it's nothing to do with them being a celebrity or anything like that. It could be just a girl that you see walking down the road and she looks amazing in your dress or whatever. That for me was the most fulfillment. So
I mean, there's still so much to learn, man. So far to go, but you know, the learning curve's been like this. It's unreal.
No, you're hilarious. You've been watching pedestrian fashion.
You've been watching pedestrian fashion.
It's very tough.